Hey guys, welcome to my breakthrough training session with my big gelding, who is about 5 years old, and I'm very excited to share this, so let's get to it. Alright, so let's get this session started. I'm simply going to start by lunging him. I did already go through a little bit of lunging that I didn't get on camera with this boy, just to teach him what energy I want him to know about when I want him to actually move out, and the energy that I exude when I just want him to be calm and still. So I taught him to lunge, and I will go through how I begin to teach a horse how to lunge with my next video with Senna. I actually filmed the full process with her and how from start to finish and what I'm looking for, and especially with a young horse or a wild horse, what I look for when I lunge. Now I want to also say that I don't lunge to tire the horse out, to get him exhausted, to get him sweaty. It's a common misconception with lunging. Some people, that is what they do, but that is not what I do with my training. I lunge the horse to get the horse and I connected, to get us going, to get their body warmed up, their mind working, and saying, hey, we've got a session, let's do this, let's get your eyes on me, let's get connected, we're good. I also, it's a good way to get myself centered and in position to do a good session. Just like when somebody does a workout, you have to warm up your muscles first. That's how I view lunging. It's just your first warm up of the session. It's not to get them tired. It's not to get them so exhausted that they don't want to do anything. That's not my intent at all. For me and this boy, lunging is a great way to just get our heads in the game. He's doing awesome with it too. I like to lunge with inside turns, meaning that they turn their head towards me when they turn rather than turn away from me where their butt will go towards me. And he picked up on it so quick. He's so smart. As you can see right there, I'm stepping up into the zone which would put pressure on his head, and that tells him to turn. Eventually, all I'll need to do is turn my shoulder and he'll know to turn inside. He's doing very well with it, and he is trying very hard. So this is my warm-up. I'm going to do this with him a little bit longer, and then we'll get to the actual training part of it, which is when I'm going to take my my whip, and put it out so that he has to touch it with his nose. He's figured it out very, very quickly. Again, he's a smart horse. So I'll show you that process that I had begun with him in the session I didn't film with him. So technically this is our 5th session together. And all he has to do is he'll have to touch the end of the whip with his nose, and then I back off. This is my attempt to start to get him into a mindset of me making connection with him and not a scary connection. And it is working, but he also has defenses up and walls up, which I do end up pushing through in this session. You'll see here, I'm just waiting for him to get his eyes back on me. My mom is in the bigger arena working with the other horses, and so he's paying attention to that energy, not always with me. So I'm just waiting till he makes a connection with me, lowers his head a little bit, and then I'm going to be walking up to him and putting the whip up in front of his nose. So he's still watching over there, but he is more connected with me. I should have walked up right then, but again, I'm not perfect. I'm learning as I go, and it's a lot different to watch yourself training than it is in the moment. Here we go. So I finally walk up, I put it out, and he knows now to touch it with his nose, and then I'll back off. And that's great because it's making a connection, but he's still leery of it. He's still tossing his head side to side, and he's keeping his head up at a fairly good distance. So he definitely has his guards up, and that's something that I need to push through. But for him, I couldn't push through it continuing what I was doing, as I found out later, which you'll see what I end up doing to make a breakthrough in our training. If I had taken the whip at this point and gone towards his shoulder, he would jump away and not let me touch him. I know, I tried. There we go, he touched the whip, so I just put it down. Here's another view of what we were doing. Put the whip out, all I want him to do is touch it. I do like that he never takes his ears off of me, well, one of his ear. He always has it on me so that he's not frozen. He's constantly trying to say, what do you want? I'm trying to understand. Whereas a horse that's frozen just will tolerate it. You may think that you're getting further in their training, but really they're just frozen to it. And someday you're going to get a big old jump when they stop freezing on you. Whereas him, I don't have that issue. He doesn't freeze. He just constantly moves, and I need him to calm down and think with his brain rather than just react. He is very much a right-brained horse. I need to get him into a left-brain horse. Consistency. So again, I just did this over and over again until finally I realized I needed to either push him further or settle with this and go very, very slow. I decided to push him further because I realized that I can do that with him. And you will see what the breakthrough is going to be here very, very soon. But first, we have a fun little dance break coming up of my mom lunging 3 horses and dancing to some beautiful music as she does it. I hope you enjoy it. Don't worry, she did get some training done as well. Now for our breakthrough. I finally unraveled the whip and just started tossing it on him. This is after I had to walk as quickly as I could behind him to keep the whip on him as he moved and fled away. But very quickly, he just stood still and I was able to toss it all around him and start to pet him with the whip. For some people, this may not seem like a breakthrough. But for this horse, it is. It's huge. It's the first major contact we had. He's looking at me. He's not frozen. He's engaged. And he's letting me pet him with the whip. This is just huge. He's a very nervous horse. And to allow me to go to his shoulder, to go to a vulnerable spot, it's huge. And I'm very excited. It's hard to hold back my excitement, especially while I'm doing this. Now, even though he's not frozen with his head, I still am going to move his feet around to go up to him in different spots, and that's what you'll be seeing here in a little bit. But the fact that this happened, and I did have to push. I had to throw the whip on him until he calmed down, and then I was finally able to touch with him. He just needed that tiny push that sent us through to the end. And here I just moved his feet and I came up to him. You could see that he's still leaning away. He's in the part where he's like, okay, I trust you. You haven't hurt me yet, but I'm still very nervous about this. That's why you can see his body's leaning away from me. He's all legs are straight, nothing's cocked. He does lick and chew here and there, so he's starting to calm down with it. So my next goals are going to be to simply continue doing this until he's more comfortable with it, and slowly work my hand up the whip. As you'll see in the next clip coming up here, I work my hand up the whip so that I'm standing closer and petting him with the whip. He starts to accept it at the end, and I cannot wait to continue working with him on this. Now that we've made contact, I know the next session I'm going to have my first real touch with him, my hand on his shoulder, just with how well he did with this session. He does back away there, but I just continue to go up to him, saying, no, you can handle this. I'm closer up on the whip, so I'm the closest I've been to him. And he's already more relaxed. He's such an amazing, smart horse, and I am just loving my time with him. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to smile. It might just brighten your day and somebody else's. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.